are here with the last 3 a.m. Coney podcast of 2020. I'm in Cincinnati. You are in Chicago. We're in different time zones. This is happening today into tomorrow. It doesn't matter. This is bringing in the new year.
Or it could be the first 3 a.m. Coney of 2021, depending on when you're watching. It's true. Completely up to you. I don't know. Everything's crazy. We're just happy for a new year, right? I mean, that's kind of the big headline for New Year's this year. Normally, it's the start of a new year. This year, it's the end of this horrendous year from hell.
Yeah, this is everyone saying goodbye to 2020. We have no idea what 2021 is going to bring, but we just go, thank God 2020 is over.
Yeah, it's like 95% to be better 2021 than 2020. It's high odds. I would take them, just being in a full stadium more than once, and it'll surpass. Although we forget, the first couple months of 2020 were pretty good. So if 2021 can't figure itself out in time, maybe it runs out of months.
I don't even know about that. You had Kobe pretty early. Like 2020 gave us flashes of the year it was going to be. And we're like, oh, that was bad, but hopefully the rest of the year is better.
Yeah, no. Well, January, February was all right-ish,
Yeah.
Leading in.
Yeah. All right. Well, so for the big story, last big story of
Joe Burrow Heisman
story.
Joe Burrow national championship.
Tiger King.
Yeah, come on. There were some good things in 2020.
Okay. Yeah, that was good. That was definitely good. For the last big story of 2020, we have the Bengals on a 2-game winning streak and Brandon Allen getting the highest rated quarterback rating for a Bengals quarterback this year.
Yeah, I think Joe would have probably had the same rating against the Texans. So
I would agree with that. Yeah,
I'm not really sure where to put that. But at the same time, with the Cincinnati Bengals, you're deciding between, wow, am I supposed to be really happy for this, or they're moving down in draft position? And really the change for me was when they had the lead on Pittsburgh, even when I knew they weren't going to win the game, when they simply had the lead, we already knew where the momentum was with the ownership and keeping Zach Taylor or not. So when they had the lead, when against the Pittsburgh Steelers before halftime, you knew Zach Taylor was coming back. So when you knew Zach Taylor was coming back, immediately you have to go, oh, it's actually better for this team to show that it can win some games and that we were all dead wrong about Zach Taylor. Immediately it becomes the best scenario. And, it seems like we're doing this week-to-week thing. Zach Taylor, no, I hate him. I love him. It's solely determined on the Cincinnati Bengals want to keep him. And right now it's very high. So us as fans, us that like to see the team succeed, well, if they want to keep him, he better work out. He better be smart. So we're going to cheer for him. And if they can win this game on Sunday, as 12.5-point dogs, they probably won't. But if they can win this game on Sunday against the Baltimore Ravens, oh boy, now you're hitting a win total people thought you were going to hit with Joe Burrow. And now you did it without him. 3 straight wins to end the season. Healthy Joe Burrow going into next year. It could be really exciting times for Cincinnati if they're able to beat Baltimore.
Yeah, and Zach Taylor absolutely, in my opinion, saved his job by showing in back-to-back weeks that he can win against all odds with not Joe Burrow, with 2 different quarterbacks. We saw Ryan Finley beat the Steelers, and we're like, Ryan Finley's the quarterback. And then he changes it to Brandon Allen, and then Brandon Allen wins, and we're like, Brandon Allen's the quarterback. Well, so is this Zach Taylor's system? Is he showing that this puzzle can work even without Joe Burrow and Joe Mixon, and then when we get them back, then we are at full strength?
Or you can look at it this way, and this is the negative way. The Bengals beat the Steelers at the low point of their season. Like, that is going to be the absolute low point. Well, I guess you could say the end of the first half against Indianapolis, the absolute low point for the Pittsburgh Steelers season. So you can say that combined with the fact that you beat a Texans team that's on an interim coach and has been torn up by everybody all year. So you could say that you couldn't put up more than 7 points against the Cowboys, who have a horrendous defense. You can go back to past evidence. But again, we have no choice but to be positive. Joe Burrow has no choice but to be positive. T. Higgins, all these guys have no choice but to be positive about the future, to be positive about their situation and their head coach. I don't know who's going to be around next year. I don't know what this team's going to look like, but it will have Zach Taylor and it will have Joe Burrow and hopefully a new veteran on defense in terms of the defensive staff. But that just makes you want to cheer for Zach Taylor now, because I'd rather them have a worse draft position and a better coach than a better draft position and a worse coach.
Yeah, if we are getting at minimum one more year of Zach Taylor and his system, him showing that it works. I mean, obviously that one win had pushed them down from 2 to 6 or something, and now they're chilling at number 5 in the 2021 draft.
Yeah, the draft really doesn't matter once you get out of 3. Then I could really care less 4 to 9. It's going to be about luck of the draw and who you get anyway.
Yeah.
Do you add a weapon? Do you get a Jamar Chase? Boy, that'd be scary. If you do that, you have to spend on an offensive line. You have to invest in that area of the team. You have to invest in some more defensive pieces. Remember, there's a lot of money coming off this team. Geno Atkins' salary coming off. Carlos Dunlap's salary coming off. A.J. Green on a franchise tag.
Yeah.
$18 million coming off. So there's plenty of money. It's a rookie quarterback under a rookie contract. Plenty of money to go around to spend. Plenty of money for free agents in multiple positions on the offensive line, on the defense. And think about it. This team is pulling off this stretch without its leading passer, leading rusher. And if you talk to us in August, what we thought was going to be the best 2 defensive players in Geno Atkins and Carlos Dunlap. Well, you could even say 2 of the best 4, because DJ Reader's out now. One of the best additions, Trey Waynes, hasn't played all year either. There's a lot of things to be positive about you can craft in your mind. And that's what winning does, Matt. That's what winning games does. That's what you hoped that they had been doing or should have been doing before Joe Burrow got hurt. Winning games. It changes perception. Because I always say this when I'm coaching. I love winning. And you say that to some parents and they freak out a little bit. They're like, oh, I don't want the guy that's all about winning. I don't want the guy that's only focused on winning, sacrifice everything for winning. But no, it's not about that. It's not that you sacrifice everything for winning. It's not that you do things wrong to win. It's that winning is a representation that you're doing everything right. Winning is the receipt for the purchases you made from the work you did, right? It's the evidence that your methods, your thoughts, your push, your drive, your work ethic, your standards, that they are reflective of what your goals should be. That's what winning is. At any level of sports, when you win, it is progress. Now, you learn more from losing, but winning is the show of progress. In a little bit of winning here at the end of the season, now you start to see a little bit of the progress in the Zach Taylor era. And I'm not going to be all the way in if they lose to Baltimore. I'm going to be, if he has a hot start next year, I'm all the way in. But if we start 0-3, I'm out. But if he beats Baltimore and this team's at 5 wins, then I'm really positive about 2021. I really believe in Zach Taylor and the team because he's able to produce the receipts of the work and show, hey, my system actually does work and this team can have success under Joe Burrow and under my leadership.
Yeah, and that's definitely a great positive going into next year. You don't want to have it be they went 2-13 and won again this year, and you blame it all on, well, Joe Burrow got hurt, and half of the games that Joe Burrow was in were close enough, and they probably could have won. if we have another year like that under Zach Taylor of losing one-score games, then that's going to be a problem. But his system working, with the injuries, this team's still able to churn out some wins at the end of the season is absolutely a positive.
Yeah, listen, it can only be a positive because the worst scenario was them losing a lot and then keeping Zach Taylor, because now you have a bad coach and it's just rough. The best case scenario, I thought, was getting rid of Zach Taylor and getting a new guy in there. The just next to best case scenario is Zach Taylor figuring it out a little bit. Now, my great fear is, and honestly, as an organization, we are nowhere near the conversation point that I'm about to bring up. But this is my long-term fear. I have another long-term fear for the Joe Burrow era. Because as you know me, I've spent many late nights thinking about how the next 15 years is going to look. My number one fear is that Zach Taylor is going to figure this out enough to get to the playoffs. He's going to figure this out enough to trick the entire fan base, ownership, and the NFL that he is a good coach because he has Joe Burrow. He gets it figured out enough that Joe Burrow makes him look like a genius, looks incredible, and then can't deliver when it matters most for a bunch of years, which sounds like a lot of Bengals teams. But hey, if there's a playoff win involved, I'd honestly take that at this point, okay? The other great fear I have is that this team will figure it out. It's all positive, and we're going to look back in 15 years, maybe have a championship, and say, wow, we would have won 2 or 3 more had Patrick Mahomes not existed. And that's another one. I watch this guy play. Even when he's playing bad and below average, he's incredible. So those are the 2 long-term fears, but we are in positive territory with the Bengals, and I am rooting full force for them against the Baltimore Ravens.
I mean, that second fear is still kind of a positive fear where we have won a Super Bowl as the Bengals, and we're thinking we could have won more. That's
well, see, that's
the worst fears that we could have there.
That's my only legitimate fear because honest to God, if this team can't win a Super Bowl with Joe Burrow, if he's healthy,
yeah,
which now you have to say, unfortunately, if he's healthy and has a full career here in Cincinnati and can't win a Super Bowl, they'll never do it. It's not a thing that will happen. I'll probably enter Dan Patrick mode of like, you know what? The Bengals are great. I love you guys. It's fun, but I'm not sure I can handle the roller coaster ride of emotions. But I'm all in right now. Just give a championship. You have to win championships to keep fans. That's the bottom line. You can't never win a championship ever, 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 ever. The reason the Browns fans stuck around through the 50 years of crap is because they were pretty damn good right before that, right? They were the best franchise in the NFL before there were Super Bowls. So they stuck around through all the horrendousness and still stick around to today. The Bengals have never had that in Cincinnati, so they've got to do something and do it quick, or else I don't know if this small market, low money franchise owned by a family is going to be a thing into 2040 and 2050.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's move on to looking at Bengals versus Vegas. We did not do it for the Texans game, but the Texans were 8-point favorites over the Bengals. Bengals won 37-31. I mean, would you have taken the Bengals on that one?
No.
I thought that Steelers. Yeah.
I thought that the offense was given a lot of breaks by Pittsburgh's offense. Like, it was literally Pittsburgh was just losing that football game. And the Bengals, for the first time in a long time, let them lose the football game and actually went out there and won it. I didn't think that they were going to respond like that against a Houston team with a dynamic offense with Deshaun Watson. I thought that the offense was going to be that same 14 to 21 points and Deshaun was going to end up winning it. That's almost what happened. And then you had that miraculous last drive from Brandon Allen and then the strip sack fumble, which was incredible, but that's how you win games in this league. So I would not have picked the Bengals there. I would have definitely taken Houston.
Yeah, I mean that was another surprising one for me. The Steelers game on Monday night felt like a miracle. Felt like a Christmas miracle. Like, wow, what a great positive to this season. But I did not think that they were going to be able to win this game against the Texans, not the way that they did, and I didn't think they would have a chance against the Ravens. I mean, what? Gio didn't do much, but you had 2 touchdowns from. Yeah, Higgins had 99 yards.
Yeah, good
Higgins
stats
is
all around.
One catch away from breaking Collinsworth rookie record there.
And so much of this without Joe Burrow, and think about how good T. Higgins can be next year. And this is where you enter the draft conversation of imagine Jamar Chase pairing with those guys. Like, imagine spending money on 2 starting caliber / all-pro caliber offensive linemen, and they're available this year. You know, spend on a guard, spend on a tackle, second-round draft pick on another tackle, and then you spend that first-round draft pick on another weapon for Joe Burrow. And the exact type of weapon this team needs, that speed option in Jamar Chase. Ooh, this offense would be, you're trying to beat the Chiefs. And that's how you go and possibly try to beat the Chiefs in 2021, 2022 with Jamar Chase out there, right?
Yep, absolutely.
I mean, like, that's all my thoughts can stay on, Matt, is 2021. And that's what I love. I'm excited to watch this game. I'll think about this team for next year.
Yep. Well, coming into the, what is it? What is the stat? It is like the last 11 times that the Bengals with a losing record have gone into their final game, they've won it.
Yeah.
That's the send them home happy stat.
Yes. The Athletic's been all over that.
Yeah.
And it's true, man. Just think about it. When the playoffs are on the line, they'll probably lose. But when they're not, tune in, baby. Bengals come to play. Bengals
we got nothing to lose.
We got nothing to lose, boy.
Yeah, this is going to be a tough one, though, with what? Yeah, 12.5 point underdogs. Over-under set at 44.5. Where are you going?
Over.
Okay.
Bengals. Like
Bengals cover or win?
Cover. You know what? I'm not looking at that 17-18 stat, not predicted a win on this podcast with these jerseys behind me. I really think they're going to win. Like, I think that everybody's kind of made this conclusion about the Ravens, that they're all the way back, that they've stormed completely back. You have this really spunky Bengals team with some, I'm going to sneeze. Oh, boy. Woo! Cut that one out. But anyway, you've got this really spunky Bengals team, because they are spunky like my sneezes. But you've got this really spunky Bengals team that plays good defense on occasion, because I think they have really good defensive players in spots and a really below average defensive coordinator. So sometimes they can pair it together and it can be pretty good. But I think that plus a division game, you keep it close, week 17, everybody counts you out. Maybe you get a kickoff return for a touchdown. Something goes your way and you win a game. I mean, I'm not going to look at that 17 of 18. Last 17 of 18 times they've been in the home finale with a losing record. They've won the game. I'm not going to look at that and bet against them plus 12.5 and pick them to lose. I'm not going to do that. Trends don't often favor the Bengals. I'm sticking with the trend.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm going to go ahead and say that the Bengals will cover. I'll take the over. I think I'm still beating you overall. I stopped doing the overall record, but because we skipped like 2 of them. But yeah, I'm looking for the Bengals to keep this at a 1-score game. I know the Browns are going to be rooting for the Bengals in this one. Browns fans are going to be, because they are right on the cusp of possibly being like a 10-6, 11-5 team that misses the playoffs.
Well, 11-5, they'll make it. So now it's only 10-6.
Okay.
Here's the thing. I need some apologies from some Cleveland Browns fans for the way they've been treating us over the past 2 years. If we're going to go win this game for you, we tried to do it for you with Pittsburgh. We're said, hey, here's the division. You go out, you lose to the Jets. And this is my thing about the Cleveland Browns as well, Matt. 2020 was a weird year. Weird year. It was unpredictable. It was unbelievable. It went left. It went right. The Cleveland Browns were one of the more dominant teams in the NFL. Here's the problem, Browns. Week 17, it's not in 2020. It's in 2021. And you're playing Mason Rudolph. And you got 10-6 and missing the playoffs when they expanded the playoff format, which, Matt, if that's not the most Cleveland Browns ending to a season ever, I don't know what is. They are walking right into Cleveland perfection. They expand the playoff field to 7. The last time you nearly made it, you missed at 10-6, which was a rare occurrence in a 6-team field. They expanded to 7. You're 10-4 with 2 weeks left. You lose to a 1-win Jets team and a backup quarterback to go 10-6 and finish 8th in the conference, to miss on an expanded playoff field. That's the most Cleveland Browns thing ever, and it'll tank the whole franchise. They'll be bad for another decade.
You think if they Browns this one up, they're going to be bad for another decade? That's their punishment?
If you're a fan, if they go 10-6 and miss the playoffs, how can you ever watch a season with any faith ever again? How? Honestly, it would get to that point for Cleveland Browns fans. We don't watch playoff games or playoff series with any faith whatsoever. We just don't. We're like, oh, we know what's coming. Like,
is this it?
And that's how Cleveland Browns fans are going to start watching week 1, 2, 3, and 4 if they blow this. So
doesn't matter. We could be 13-3. We're still going to find a way to miss the playoffs
until it has the little X next to our name on the standings page. It says clinched. We're not going to believe it.
Yeah,
we're not going to believe it.
Yep. Okay. So what do Browns fans need to do for you to allow the Bengals to win this game and help them out?
What do Browns fans need to do? Well, I think that, there's a couple Browns fans in my life. They've already done all they need to do. They've been nice. They've been complimentary of Joe Burrow. They've said, you have the best quarterback for the future of the division. You guys are going to be a problem. They give real deference and respect to the future leaders of the AFC North. But there's a few other Browns fans in my life who, they do things like wish injury upon Bengals players. I don't know.
Steelers move. That's a Steelers fan move.
I know that's a Steelers fan move, right? That's low. I don't know. Maybe we'll just take our 2 wins and we'll lose. We're supposed to lose to the Ravens. We'll take a better draft position, and you guys will lose to Pittsburgh, and you'll miss the playoffs, and you'll say, "Oh, I'm sorry, Cincinnati. We needed you in that last week." Like, well, we like helping the Bills because they'll donate to our charity.
Help the Bills do anything.
But we're not helping you. No way.
I feel like you want that scenario to happen more than you want the Bengals to win. But yeah, we will see. It's not 2020 anymore, so we have no idea what's going to happen.
I really do think they'll blow it, though, because
we just started to figure 2020 out, that it's just random chaos, and now we have no idea what 2021 is going to bring.
Well, see, here's the problem: is Cleveland Browns fans are unfortunately still are not going to be able to see a 10-win team since 2007, because by the time they get to see this team, they'll be back to below 500.
Yeah.
That's the year 2020. Browns fans finally got a good team, didn't get to go watch them.
That is the most Browns thing ever.
Hey, we got a good team, guys. Like Bills fans, like, oh, we got a home playoff game. We're the Buffalo Bills. We have a home playoff game. And we have to have a court hearing and listen to the mayor about whether we can attend it or not. So
that's like for the Browns, that'll be like if a tree falls in the forest, does it make a noise? If the Browns win in front of no one, does it even count?
Listen, this is the best year to be a spicy 5-win team that got a quarterback hurt in the middle of the season.
Spunky, spicy,
It's the best
sneezy.
year for
How
it.
else are you going to describe this Bengals team?
I mean, when Joe Burrow tweeted out, it's a great week for the Bengals with him walking, it was like Jesus of Nazareth walking across the water. It was seriously like some powerful shit, man. Because you're just like, okay. Because most guys would be like, hey, it's a great week for my family. It's a great week for me. You know, I'm really glad to be walking. No, this guy said, listen, they won without me and I'm walking again. It's a great week for the Bengals. It's a great week for the Bengals because I am the Bengals. It's just awesome. I love
it. You were very excited about that tweet. I can tell. All right, let's move on from the Bengals and Jesus of Nazareth, Joe Burrow. We might get some emails on that one. We have Bearcats tomorrow or later today, depending on when this goes out. Number 8 Bearcats versus number 9 Georgia. I mean, we just watched Florida lose to Oklahoma, get demolished 55-20. Georgia had lost to Florida 44-28 during the season. They lost to Bama 41-24 too. How do you feel this game's going to go?
Oh boy, college football and these bowl games, man, as they've been like clicking by, I'm like, man, can just the Cincinnati, just something relevant, these playoff games actually, something relevant to watch. I'm going to pick Cincinnati. I really think that this is going to happen because I think it's all setting up for this horrific scenario, Matt. I think that Cincinnati's going to win, right? It's going to be a great win. Oh, we're going to celebrate. It's going to be amazing. We're all going to be happy. It's going to be great. And we're going to say, man, if only there were an 8-team playoff, Cincinnati would have been able to try. And now this horrific scenario is going to happen. They're going to expand the playoff to 8. I think that might happen this summer. There's some rumors about it. There's some inklings about it. They expand it to 8. You get out to 8. Cincinnati goes undefeated again. Now they're on an incredible winning streak. They are the talk of college football, arguably, because their winning streak is so long. And then they'll keep them out of the 8-team playoff. And then what are we going to do? We should leave
all down.
That's playoff. We should leave the playoff. But I really think that's something that's going to happen. And that's something that's on the table. But in the good news section, I think Cincinnati wins. I think Cincinnati is a well-coached. I think that they run like a Power 5 program. They're a Power 5 recruiting base. Mm-hmm. So I think you combine that with the fact that they constantly are going to have this underdog chip on the shoulder mentality whenever they're playing anybody that doesn't play in the American Athletic Conference. I think it gives them a real big advantage in a lot of matchups.
Yeah, and I think that the Cincinnati Bearcats this year are the most Power 5, non-Power 5 team. Non-Power 5, Power 5, whatever. One of those ways. They look like a Power 5 team without getting all of the benefits of being in a Power 5 conference. So with Georgia being 7-point favorites, over-under set at 51. I mean, Fickle came out and said that this Georgia team is going to be his toughest battle as a coach at the University of Cincinnati. And I would love for the Bearcats to blow them out or to win by 3 touchdowns. But at that point, it's going to go back to what you just said. The Bearcats are going to have an undefeated season. We're going to be the exact same way as USF a few years ago. And it was if the Bearcats would have gotten into the playoffs, how far could they have gone? Could they have gone to a national championship? And if they expand to 8 teams and the Bearcats don't make it next year, I'm burning it all down. I don't think that would happen. I think if the Bearcats did the exact same thing, they could at least limp in at number 8. And then if they get blown out, that's a whole nother issue. But 8 teams, I think this year would have been the year to do it.
Well, I just think that, with the 8-team playoff, I'm sure that they'll let them in if they're on that type of winning streak, maybe. I just think that they're going to constantly find a way to screw teams like Cincinnati.
Yeah.
So I think that they'll leave them at 9. Look where they're ranked now. They're ranked 8th. And if it were an 8-team playoff, you really think that they'll leave a Georgia team out and Cincinnati in? A Georgia team that they put in the same bowl game, and Georgia's now favored over Cincinnati by 7.5 points.
Yeah. I mean, it's just disrespect.
And the committee's like looking at that stuff. So I don't ever think Vegas is disrespect, by the way. I think Vegas is trying to make money. And I think Vegas is pretty nails it most of the time. But 7.5 is frankly not that much, especially when think of the emotional advantages. What the hell does Georgia have to play for in the Peach Bowl with no fans? It's in Atlanta. So, all these guys are from there. It's right near Georgia. It's basically a home game for them. I tend to think that's more of a relaxed atmosphere because there's not a lot of fans allowed in the Mercedes-Benz Superdome. If this were a full fan game, then Georgia would have a massive advantage. But now it's almost a disadvantage. You're in the Peach Bowl. It's at home. It's lax. You're playing Cincinnati, 7.5-point favorites. Meanwhile, Cincinnati is saying, you need to go out there and show that committee that they are ignorant, foolish, and stupid for leaving you out. You need to destroy them. And I think that Cincinnati has an opportunity to do that. I definitely take them plus 7.5. I take them to win the game, no matter how talented Georgia is. Because this sport, a lot of times, it's not about talent. It's about motivation and situational coaching. And I think Luke Fickell's right there with Kirby Smart. So I think Cincinnati's got a real opportunity to make a big-time statement that won't end up mattering anyway in the future, but it'll be a statement nonetheless.
But we can print the T-shirts that we were the real national champions.
Yes. We should call it a national championship. It should do it like UCF did. Put it up in the damn stadium. Do it. Seriously, do it. If they win by more than 10 points over Georgia, they should do it.
I'm going to do it. I'm going to, my entire life, I'm going to pretend, even if they never get in again. We got one. This is it right here in the Peach Bowl.
2020 national. If they are not going to allow undefeated teams to start playing for the championship, then people should start going right back to the model that you used to have when there wasn't an actual national championship. It was just a collection of bowl games, and the AP would name a champion. You could just start claiming championships. Alternate media places could start claiming and naming national champions that aren't necessarily the teams that are playing in the playoff. I mean, might as well fight the power.
I mean, did you hear what Kirk Herbstreit said when they were discussing after they on the selection show, they said the top 8, and then he was saying that teams like the Bearcats or like Coastal Carolina who were obviously upset. Okay, hey, we're not higher, we're not Power 5, we're never going to get the opportunity. He was saying that those teams should just be happy to be in the mix and that they need to know their place, essentially. And to be like, they will never be up here in the top 4. So stop complaining.
Then you're taking away the entire point of sport.
Yeah.
Right? Nobody goes and tries to swim in college that doesn't have somewhere in the back of their mind, I want to win a gold medal someday. Nobody picks up a basketball as a kid and doesn't carry somewhere in the back of their mind, hey, if I had a growth spurt and I get good enough at this, maybe one day I can play in the NBA. Maybe I can go for a national championship. And even simpler dreams. Maybe I can go for a state title. Maybe I can win something for my school. Maybe I can win a championship, compete at the highest level, be remembered, be recognized, be legendary.
Yep.
That's like the entire point of sport.
That's what sports are all about.
And if you're going to tell half of your league, then it's an illegitimate league. And it makes me upset. It makes me not want to watch any of the sport because it feels like a criminal enterprise. Okay? Like these teams and these fan bases need something beyond a conference championship to strive for. That's the point of sports. Know your place. That's not sports. Sports is saying, I'm Rocky Balboa. My place isn't inside this ring with the world heavyweight champion Apollo Creed. It's beating him. It's not my place, but I'm going to do it. You know why? Because that's the American sports story. You know, I feel so stupid making this argument sometimes because it seems so obvious to me. It slaps me in the face like a fish. Like, oh, upsets are kind of a part of sports. You're supposed to play into that. The underdog, the downtrodden, the long shot. It's like the most crucial sports story. And everybody's like, nah, I want to see Georgia lose for a third time this year. It's unbelievable to me.
I think you had said it before. It's why you have the number 1 seed play the 16th seed in college basketball, because you don't just give them a bye in that scenario. You want the underdog. You give them an opportunity. So that school that limped in as the 16 seed, and they know they probably don't have a shot, they're still going to go out there and play with all the heart that they can muster. And even if they lose by 30, they get to say, we made it. We danced. We had a great season. We weren't able to beat Goliath, but having the opportunity and knowing that if they were to continue winning, they would have made it to a national championship. And the Bearcats just did not get an opportunity. And I don't think a lot of teams will have this opportunity until the playoffs are expanded.
Yeah, it just kind of ruined the drama of the Bearcats season, right? You know, they're going to get snubbed. So they're going to kick this field goal. You're like, okay, what does this field goal matter anyway for?
Yeah, because you're like, okay, we got to blow them out by 30 to even have a chance.
It doesn't make it fun, right? It's not this. Sports is just very simple. And we've kind of twisted and confused it, especially college football. It's really sad to see. It's about winning and losing games. It's about different programs with different backgrounds and different recruiting structures competing against each other. And if it ends up being 30-point blowouts on occasion, don't feed into that system by rewarding those programs even when they lose games. Even when they lose games.
Yeah.
And don't reward that system by those teams not losing any games because they played a cupcake schedule. You know, this sport's got to go through a whole restructuring process if it wants to maintain any sort of popularity. Because this whole culture and tradition and all that, listen, the world's going to be a lot different after this pandemic. There will be radical changes in our lives in many, many, many aspects, in sports, in politics, in the way you shop, in the places you visit, in the world political order. There will be changes. So you have an opportunity as college football to change with the era, to expand your playoff, to demand control of scheduling across conferences. If you're not going to include a lot of teams in that opportunity to play in the playoff, make a secondary national championship, create more divisions as the high schools have done, right? Do these simple things that have worked, that have made sports more competitive, that have made people enjoy it, that built tradition and championships and history. Easy stuff. Grade A, grade 1, sport management stuff. They're unable to do it. And I just wish that they would embrace this opportunity to save their sport, which was built entirely on tradition and will collapse because tradition goes away if you don't build upon it, if you don't expand it. And they haven't done that for the past 20 years.
No, you are absolutely right. All right, we will end the show on that. I mean, you just gave them the checklist of things that they can do to fix it in 2021. So if you are listening to this podcast, go ahead and just fucking do it already.
Well, no. I mean, I've been fixing the NCAA since like 2016 and they haven't listened. But, you know, that's the problem with being the guy shouting from the outside.
Yeah.
It's all right. It's all right. Well, it's still fun to watch. I'll watch. Don't worry about it.
I'm still gonna watch, and hopefully the Bearcats blow out Georgia, and I can just scream that we are national champions. And we'll continue to yell about it and just get a little louder every year until it happens.
Yeah, I'm going to not listen. I haven't been tweeting much, so I'll probably tweet repeatedly every day. I'll get on the laptop every day and tweet Bearcats 2020 national champions.
There you go. Keep it trending. All right, on to next year. Bring on 2021.
Bring it on. All right, Matt. Good stuff. The Coney. Adios.